Good afternoon from a sunny Joburg. Welcome to all participants from around the continent to African Investigative Journalism Conference training sessions. My name is Izak Minnaar. I'm on the training team at the AIJC. And in this session this afternoon, we're going to focus a bit on investigating local government. There's more and more information become available on local government and how local government services affect or impact positively or negatively on citizens. More of that information becoming in the public domain, which also helps journalists to do better reporting on people living in cities and towns and rural areas. Very often there's lots of collaboration also between journalists or newsrooms and civic tech organizations to try and develop tools that can help journalists, but also the public as a whole, to monitor what's happening and to get information that can really help them to sometimes improve their lives or sometimes communicate with their authorities or also help them to decide who they could vote for. In elections times like we have in South Africa at the moment. So what we're going to do in this session, we're going to look at specific examples on how journalists and civic tech organizations and people who help journalists, how they use certain tools in Kenya. And in the second part of the session, we'll look at similar tools, dashboards, and so on in South Africa. And we chose these two countries simply because there are a couple of very interesting projects happening in both countries. But many of the things that we're going to see today can actually be replicated or duplicated in other countries. And I would urge people also, so when you see the specifically local case studies, think about your own environments and how you can possibly use similar tools. And then if it's necessary or we need to make some connections to help you to actually get that done, we can also do so. So I first want to introduce our first speaker, Faith Kemunto. She's working for Code for Africa as a data analyst. And she's involved in a couple of really, really interesting projects. And I think Faith will tell us more about that. Go for it, Faith.
Thank you very much, Izak. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining this session. My name is Faith Kemunto, as Izak has introduced me, and I am a data analyst. I'm based in Nairobi, Kenya, and I work at Code for Africa at the Data Lab. So just a brief introduction on who Code for Africa is and what we do. So at Code for Africa is the continent's largest network of indigenous civic technology and open data labs. It has teams in 21 countries. So Code for Africa gives citizens actionable data-driven information to make better informed decisions and in turn strengthen civic engagement for improved public governance and accountability. So we also do build technology tools to amplify citizen voices and combat organized crimes. And also just to mention, Code for Africa is actually a managing partner for this conference and was responsible for planning the events happening in Dakar, Senegal and Nairobi, Kenya. So maybe just to dive into today's topic, which is investigating local government. So we do know that accountability is an important part of any organization, but it is especially important in local government because governments must be responsible for how they use their resources to provide services so that they can meet the needs of the people they are serving. There have always been concerns about lack of accountability and mismanagement of resources that have been reported in the media severally, especially here in Kenya. Like we've had public offices mismanaging public funds with zero consequences. Just an example here of what we've had here in Kenya is like pens costing as much as 9,000 Kenyan shillings. That's about 900 USD. And that's just a single pen. We have wheelbarrows costing 100,000 Kenyan shillings, and that's just a single wheelbarrow. And such ridiculous things. And so you're just really left wondering what sort of like pens and wheelbarrows are this that cost that much when you can easily get say a pen for about 10 to 20 Kenyan shillings. And this is mostly frustrating because at the same time, you'll be getting reports of how there are patients in hospitals that are sharing beds. Students in schools don't have enough classrooms, so they have to like learn under trees and all that, which is actually quite infuriating. So yeah, we've had government institutions being inefficient and ineffective over time, but we haven't been able to easily hold them accountable for various reasons. We've also had multiple county government officials being summoned by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations here in Kenya, as well as the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, again here in Kenya. But most times you'll still find that they don't leave office. They'll still be holding their position while still, with all those allegations, they will still be holding the position. We've also seen leaders making promises on what to do, and mostly we see this during like the campaign season. But that's all that there is to that. For instance, again here in Kenya, in 2013, we were promised 5 state-of-the-art stadiums by the by the current government when it sorry about that by the current government when it came into power. But come 2017, we still didn't have any stadiums that were built. And that again is the period when we were going to hold our elections again. Sorry about that. That's the period we're going to hold our elections again. So again, this same government, these same people come back and tell you, okay, this time we're going to build 9 stadiums. But it's 2021 now. We still haven't seen any. There's still like promises of more stadiums to be built. As I'm speaking right now, I think we were told 11 stadiums are going to be built by 2022, which is next year. So we can only hope that they will actually do that. But anyway, that's besides the point. So we're always told that the funds that were set aside for like such a project went into like a different project. But as citizens, we really can't verify that because such detailed information is not often available to the public. That is despite the Kenyan government being mandated to do so by the Constitution of Kenya, which provides for the right of access to information held by the state, and further that the state shall publish and publicize any important information affecting the nation. So like another example is actually how the government of Kenya did promise to disclose the details of the contract between the contract of the standard gauge railway between Kenya and China, because there has been so much uncertainty about the terms of that contract, but up to date, that has not been done. So we can see how accountability is largely neglected by those people in government, and transparency is never established with regard to either the planned or the implemented development project. So this brings me to my next point, which is how it's been quite a challenge to investigate local governments in the past, because we've always lacked data. And in cases where the data exists, it's always buried in the traditional paper, like multiple pages. So it's actually tedious it's a tedious process going into those papers trying to extract the data. And if you can actually extract the data, it's it might get distorted in the process, because most times you find that maybe the government does not want you to actually know what's happening. Also the papers can get lost or get damaged. We've actually heard of cases and actually seen cases where government offices miraculously catch fire whenever there's an audit going to happen, and just like that, all the information is gone with it. But again, over time, with the evolution of technology, the ways in which data is stored has evolved. But so nowadays, data can be stored in machine readable format and easily accessed via computers. So with all these changes, there's been a need to have people with the right data skills and the right tools to handle the data that can keep local governments more accountable. And that's the gap that we're trying to fill here at Code for Africa. So Code for Africa currently in partnership with KCOMNet. KCOMNet is a consortium of Kenya Community Media, the BNZ German Corporation, the Cameco is the Catholic Media Council, and PesaCheck. We are currently undertaking such a project called Our County, Our Responsibility. And the project focuses on empowering journalists from community-based radio stations to adopt data-driven digital journalism tools and techniques so that they can improve their evidence-driven analysis and multimedia reporting, especially on development issues. So at Code for Africa, we actually train the journalists on how to do the data research, how to extract data on the data in various formats, and how to actually transform the data into machine readable formats. We also train them on how to do the analysis on the data, how to design visualizations for their stories, and how to find story ideas from the data on key learning topics. So the key learning topics that we mostly focus on are investigative journalism and fact checking, and also government budgeting and service delivery. And in all these topics, we do focus on the importance of using data to add credibility to the stories. So another component of this project is the Pesa Yetu tool. Pesa Yetu is a Kiswahili phrase that means our money. So what the Pesa Yetu tool does, it's an easy to use visualization tool that will help journalists to quickly find data, analyze, and also to compare it, especially budget data, because that can actually be quite complex to understand. The journalists will also be able to access data that will help them to fact check claims about resource allocation, public procurement, and development plans and services. So this the Pesa Yetu data it's basically a data portal. It's being built on CFA's Hurumap technology, and it's already in use in newsrooms in 5 countries, and it incorporates detailed demographic data to put people into numbers so that journalists can more easily inject evidence-based data into their stories. So at Code for Africa, again, we are currently scraping and cleaning data sets from the Kenya County Integrated Development Plans. So what the County Integrated Development Plans are, they are plans that are prepared by all the 47 counties in Kenya, and they guide developments over a 5-year period. So they do contain information on development priorities that inform the annual budget processes, particularly the preparation of annual development plans, the annual county fiscal strategy papers, and the annual budget estimates. And according to the Kenyan Constitution, the development measures that are set out in those documents should also reflect the priorities of the citizens, which result from a participatory process in which citizens are involved, and their opinions and recommendations taken into account. So the CIDP data that we have cleaned so far is already being used to tell stories. It's being used to tell stories that are impacting readers, especially on budget matters. So through the data charts that we create, citizens are able to consume a lot of what is contained in reports in an easy way, because the information that is found in this plans is in hundreds of pages, making it difficult to consume all that content. But with like the information presented in a simple and easy way to understand, it always gets people talking and asking the right questions, because you'll always find that whatever is promised in those plans is not exactly what's happening in real sense. So by the citizens knowing all this, they are empowered to hold the government accountable. So the Passayetu tool, I'll just show it to you in a bit. Will also make it easy for journalists to make comparisons on budget data between different counties. It will also make it easy to see how resources are being shared in different counties across the different sectors. And from that, and then from that, they can come up with stories investigating the variance in allocations, because also we'll have other indicators included on the platform, like population, health, education, agriculture, among others, as found in those reports. So maybe I'll just share my screen and show you that SIA2 bit. Okay, so this is the Passayeto wireframe. It's still in development and it will be completed in a few weeks. But this is basically how it will look like. And so we'll have like county data uploaded to the county specific pages, and in it you can have an overview of the county population, the political, the land use type, agriculture data, the industries in the counties, and all these other indicators. We also have the revenue indicator, which is mostly which will have like the budget data. We'll have like the development indicator, which will mostly be about the projects being undertaken in the counties and whether they've been implemented. So from this, if let's say you want to see the population breakdown as shown here, if you click on it, it creates interactive visualizations for you, so that it's easier to understand the connection between the different indicators. So it also makes it more engaging, having interactive visualizations. So another functionality which I said about comparing will be this. So you can easily pick counties to compare, and you can see the results generated here for whatever indicators that you wish to view. Yeah, that's it. So okay. So I'm not quite sure if I lost you there.
We are still here, but we're seeing your Zoom screen now. Did you want to show us the other tool as well?
Sorry, which tool?
So you showed us Pesa Yetu.
Yes.
Did you also show, did you want to show us another tool as well?
No. It's the Pasayetu tool mostly that I was going to talk about.
Okay. So it looks to me that the Pesa Yetu tool you say is still in development, right?
Yes, it's still in development.
And when will it become available, and who will be the main users, do you think?
It will be ready in the next few weeks, and that will be shared on our CFA Twitter, and maybe I can share it on Hoover if I can get that privilege. The users will mostly be journalists because by them learning on how to use such data-driven tools, they are able to explore, interpret, and report on data-driven developmental stories that affect the lives of their community members, and in turn they will get to empower their communities to then engage with their leaders on issues concerning policy and governance at county level. And in turn, when the citizens are informed, then that way no one is left behind in developmental areas that are of interest to them.
So, Faith, tell us a little bit about the data sets. I mean, how easy or difficult was it to get it? Are they official and unofficial? Often people will say, okay, but can we believe these data? And how old is the data that you'll be using?
The data that we're using, the data sets, we are extracting them from the county integrated development plans, which are actually official reports from the county government. The data is not structured really. We have to scrape it from the PDF, from the report PDFs. So that's actually been quite a challenge because it's tedious to do that, and also it takes a long time to clean. So that's actually one challenge that we've been facing with that. And we don't also have the open data policy in many government institutions here in Kenya, because you can't easily get the information that maybe you're seeking. And making data requests doesn't always work. And it takes a long time to also wait for the government institutions to get back to you with your data requests. Yeah, with feedback on your data requests. Also, another issue that we've been facing is the data, in as much as it's in the same report, it's not reported in the same way across the board. So it's actually quite difficult to make comparisons because let's say we have a county reporting on the amount that was spent for health. So you'll find that one county has just like a total amount of the amount that was spent generally in the health sector. And then you'll find that another county has detailed information of how they actually spent the money, like how many beds did they add to hospitals, or if they built more hospitals with the money, how much goes into salaries, like such detailed information. So it's quite difficult to make comparisons, but also it's difficult now to hold this county that doesn't do that detailed breakdown of the budget, of how they spent their money. It's difficult to hold them accountable because you don't actually know what they use the money for. They just say health, and you don't know where that health money went. It's just health as in general.
Faith, to what extent have you been working with newsrooms and journalists in developing the tool, and how do you plan once a tool is live to make sure journalists use it, and do you have newsrooms who will actually start using it, or do you start marketing it when you launch it, or what's the plan with newsrooms?
Oh, no, that's why that's what we are actually currently doing with the project that I was talking about, our county, our responsibility. We are training journalists from community-based radio stations on how to be able to use that tool once it's live. So they will know how to use it once it's live, and then over time it will spread to other. We are currently working with 14 counties. So over time, it will go to like all the 47 counties in Kenya. That's what we hope to achieve. But we are training the journalists on how to actually use it.
Okay, that's great. I think I'm going to switch to Ray now, unless Faith, we can come back later on, unless there's anything else you want to add quickly, Faith, or shall we pick it up later?
Yeah, we can pick it up later.
Okay, good. Sorry, my phone was just ringing. I just had to stop it. So I want to introduce Raymond Joseph, who's an award-winning South African journalist, just been getting real good results from stories that he did on the lottery. So if you don't know about it, just Google Raymond Joseph and lottery and you'll see that. But over and above that, Ray has been playing a role in South African journalism. I mean, he's one of the people who's been at the forefront of teaching journalists in data journalism in many different ways, as part of a data journalism academy, going around in newsrooms, helping civic tech to develop tools for journalists. And he's been helping to launch it. So much of the stuff, Faith, that you're just starting the journey now, Raymond Joseph has been doing that for some years. So let's hear, Raymond, what is the kind of tools that people in South Africa can actually utilize?
Just before I start, I'd like to say I'm an investigative journalist, but I do data-driven investigations. Now, the points why I'm saying that is the data will help you find the less obvious stories. The data, ultimately, you've got to go out in the field. The data does the heavy lifting. It does not do the journalism. And you need to go. The data might be telling you something without going out into the field, which is where the real reporting happens. So I work with an organization called Open Up, used to be called Code for South Africa, and they build civic tech tools. Now, you'll often hear journalists complaining there's not enough data. There's loads of data if you know where to find it. We are quite lucky in South Africa, is we've got more data available than most African countries. But for most journalists, it's quite daunting to work with data. And I'd like to show you a series of tools which have been developed by Open Up. So I play a part, I'm kind of the journalism insights, how does it apply? How does it apply to journalism? And don't be scared. The tools will do the heavy lifting for you. They are data rich. You don't have to go and scrape the data. So faith is at the beginning of the process. Acquiring the data, scraping the data, cleaning the data. What I'm going to show you is the end result once all that has been done. And I'm going to keep going back and forward between my presentation and then going to the actual tools. Investigating local government and the free tools that do the heavy lifting. So in less than 2 weeks' time, South Africa is going to the polls to vote in the 2021 municipal elections. Now, these are critical. These of possibly the most important election since 1994. Everything is in flux. It is very fluid. And the thing about municipal local government elections, this deals with bread and butter issues. This is not big politics. This is about potholes. This is about access to water. This is about access to toilets. So enterprising journalists are not going to run with the herd, depend on press releases, going to party political meetings, etc. They're going to go and seek out the less obvious stories where they don't have the same competition for a good story, and the data is going to take them. So what are the tools that are available to help? So the South African National Editors Forum, this has been built by Open Up. It's built on, by the way, sorry, the source code for all of these tools is open source. And very often in the tool, you will find a link to the GitHub. If you don't find it there, contact Open Up. Their details are all over the place. They will tell you where to find the GitHub. So sorry. And so I'm going to start on the very front of the election dashboard. There's been a lot of training leading up to these elections done by SENEF. These are all recordings of modules, webinars that have been done. There is extensive reporting resources, data resources, information about election disinformation, party funding, very important, the safety of journalists, regulatory framework, etc. I'm now actually going to go to the actual dashboard. It is built on the backbone of WASIMAP. I suspect that the tool Faith was showing us might actually be built on the WASIMAP code. I'm not sure, but it certainly looked like an iteration of WASIMAP. So WASIMAP has been built in a way that it is very easy to get an iteration going. Now, in the election dashboard, we've got elections, demographics, the living environment of people, economic environment, education, service delivery. So I'm actually going to start with typing in the name of a municipality. And what it's telling me here is it's in South Africa, in the province of the Eastern Cape, in the Kakadu district, and the municipality is called the Blue Plain Municipality. And I am now going to go to that indicator, the rich data. So I've taken a poor example here now. Unfortunately, something went wrong, but by tomorrow, it had to be taken down. It was corrupting the rest of the tool. I spoke to the techie a few hours ago. It guarantees by tomorrow, what will be up on a ward basis is all the previous election result, but more importantly, on a ward basis, you will be able to see all the parties are standing in a ward and all the candidates. So we have a problem in South Africa is we have bigger parties dominating. But one of the hallmarks of this election is the extraordinary number of smaller parties and independents. I know, for example, in the ward where I live, there is almost 20 different parties standing. And yet, when you read in the local newspapers, you're reading about the ANC, the Democratic Alliance, the Economic Freedom Fighters, and maybe one or two. It's excluding everyone else. The tool will have this. So under demographics, now in South Africa, what we have is every 10 years, we have a census. Our last census was in 2011. There are workers currently in the field. The work for this census has begun. It's been made quite difficult by COVID, but they have found a way around it. Now, what you have is a midterm in between the 10 years. At 5 years, what we do is a thing called a community survey. And the community survey, the community survey is like a mini, it's like a mini census. So I can filter by population group, by sex. Once I've done that, I can add I can add more filters. But what I would like to show you is this municipality, 33% of the people living in this municipality are children. Now, you know, 33% is meaningless if you don't know the grand total. So if you put your cursor there, it's actually 11,824. The way to use this tool is to do research as a journalist before you go into the field, to understand the community that you're going to be reporting on, and also to understand what to look for when you're there. Now, I can switch. The source for this is a 2016 survey or the 2011, which is really old in the teeth. This municipality has got 17,841, or 49% of the people are male. Female, there we are. Broken up into population, it being South Africa, everything, whether you like it or not, ultimately comes down to race. As much as we wouldn't like it, that's what it is. And there's the breakup: 59% are Black African, 37% are colored. There are no Indians or Asians, and only 4% are white. But all the time, when you look at it, you can see it below the values, and you can also see if you put your cursor on it. So we've broken it up into the age groups. And all the time, you can actually, you can always filter it. So you're starting to understand who is in this population, what are the issues. So let's look at the financial performance. So this municipality, unauthorized, fruitful or wasteful expenditure. By the way, all the time, what you can do, particularly if you're working online or you want an illustration for a picture in print, you can always save the image. I think it saves as either a JPEG or PNG, and you can always download the data yourself. So it's a bit like fact checking, is when you're giving people information, give them the ability to check you. 10.6% of the budget was fruitless and wasteful expenditure in 2011, 2012. The last time this was reported was in 2018-19, and it's gone up to 10.51%. Now, part of understanding the fruitless and wasteful expenditure is, so in South Africa, the smaller municipality, the smaller its rate space, the more funding it will get from central, the equitable budget distribution. The money that is collected by tax, that is given to municipalities to run themselves, to do development, service, etc. The bigger a municipality is, the bigger its rate base, the smaller amount that they will be getting from central government, from the equitable fund. And you can see that this municipality actually has a problem with collecting its rates and taxes. By 2018, 2019, 22% of people were not paying for the services that were being provided. And it's decreased over the years. So we can look at sources of income here. That is money that this municipality is getting from central government. 43% of its money is coming from central government. 2009, but 2018-19, it had dropped to 37.52. We can also see our locally generated. So my point being, this is really deep, dense data, but you don't have to be a data ninja. The work is being done for you. The tool is doing the heavy lifting for you. So it goes, financial performance, living environment. (1,257% of people living in this municipality have no source of income. So they are hustling, they're doing small piece jobs, they're doing whatever they can just to put food on the table. 12,000 to 24,000, these two here, up to around there, these are people who are getting government grants. Largely, these are people getting government grants. Households by income. So you've got a real value, percentage on their own. To the journalists out there, to quote a percentage in a story without saying what the universe is meaningless. 10% of what, 100% of what. So in this municipality, this is the breakdown by household of income. So there's not that many rich people here, and it kind of jumps quite dramatically. We can look at the kind of homes that people are living in. So it might be a bit, is that easier to see? So we are looking, so this is quite a well-developed area, is formal house or brick construction is almost 100%, is 98%. There aren't flats or apartments, there's no cluster houses. So people are largely living in brick homes. Only 1% or 438 are living in shacks in backyard, other people's backyards. And 273 are living in shacks that are on their own. We're looking at their main source of Sorry. My apologies. Anyway, so to go away from this tool, and I'm just trying to escape, and it's not allowing me to escape very well. There we go. The next tool that I would like, and as you're going through municipal money, you can have a look at surrounding municipalities just by clicking on the map. Will take you to another municipality. The next tool that I would like to show you, Izak, can you confirm Muni Money is on the screen?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so that SENEF tool, the SENEF tool borrows from multiple tools. It's borrowing from WASIMAP, it's borrowing from municipal money. Now, again, let's have a look at the same municipality, Blue Crane. By the way, what I use, all these tools, by the way, are mobile friendly. One of the things that I'm doing when I'm traveling, I've got these tools on my phone. I literally, if I want to know if I start off by petrol, I'm naturally curious. I'm actually going, I quickly look up on my phone about that municipality. So if you are out reporting, you can literally get it on your phone. But I would urge people to go out and to be doing this kind of research, doing their research before they go out. So this municipality, it's Inkakada, it's got a population of 36,001. There's its size, 11,000 square kilometers. And the density is 3.3 people per kilometer. So it's not that dense. What the tool is also giving you is contact details for the mayor, secretary of the mayor, the municipal manager, etc. Throughout this tool, you will find a video in English and 4 other South African languages, indigenous languages, explaining about the tool. Now, in South Africa, the Auditor General on an annual basis issues reports on municipalities. What you're going to find in this report is if you click, it's going to upload, I'm not going to do it, it's going to upload a copy of that year's report. Now, you can't be a journalist if you don't read. If you don't read, rather go and work in the bank. The devil is in the detail in these audit reports. They're all there for you in a single place. And these are unqualified emphasis of matter items. And throughout here, you will find there's unqualified, same as unqualified opinion with no finding, but the Auditor General wants to bring something particular to the attention of the reader. Now, this is not the report that goes to the municipality. Those are the ones that you hope will be leaked to you because it's there. But when you read these audit reports, you will find what the Auditor General says is wrong, what needs to be fixed, if there's any excessive spending, etc. The devil is in the detail. If you don't read reports, you're not going to find anything. It's telling me that this municipality has got, let's get this out of the way. Its cash balance about this cash balance. So a municipality's cash balance refers to money it has in the bank that it can easily access. So all the time, you will find about this indicator, and you will always find a video explaining it, explaining how it's measured, and the show calculation will take you to the actual budget item. It'll take you to the actual item in the budget where we can see where the cash flow is, total cash by payments, cash held, cash equivalents at month end. And as we go through what one of the things that this is very helpful is before you go and report, so this gives you great context on a municipality, but before you go out and report, so this municipality is underspent by almost 31% of its capital budget. So what does that mean? It means include spending on infrastructure projects like new water pipes, building a library, and underspending a capital budget can lead to underdelivery of basic services. So we've already got a warning here that they've underspent here. And what you're going to find when you go to that area is water supply problems, there might be sewage problems, and very often where they manifest themselves is in the poorest areas. Spending on repairs and maintenance. This municipality is not just spending on repairs and maintenance. For every 10% on building, replacing infrastructure, 80 cents should be spent every year on repairs and maintenance. To the extent that in 2018-19, this is a zero. This means that these people have not reported. You can compare it to similar municipalities. Fruitless and wasteful expenditure. 10.5% of the budget is fruitless and wasteless expenditure. And there are lots, I'm not going to go through, this is an interesting one, is are they collecting what they owed? And one of the reasons they might be underspending on capital budget is they're not collecting the money they budgeted for. But as I said, you've got to go to see, you've got to be eyes on the ground to see where does the municipality get its money from? Locally generated, it's almost half and half. A transfer, equitable share of taxes and grants from national and provincial governments, and 50% is locally generated. So the sources of income. This is where municipality is getting its income from. This municipality, property rates, etc. And so it goes. And every time when you get stuck, there's a video explaining it. Where did the difference in planned income occur? So in this case, they budgeted for 45.9 million rand. They got 36.7. Licenses and permits, they brought in 120,000 less than they budgeted for. Property rates, rental income, they're not very good at collecting their money. This is how they are spending their money, what they spent their money on. So this municipality is not spending very much money on environmental protection and public safety, but governance and administration is very high. They're not spending a lot of money on waste management. Where did it occur? Sorry, I'm just quickly going through. So this explains where the money is coming from. The affordable range, what they're collecting from indigent households, middle income households. How bills have risen over time. And there are lots of resources here. I'd like to just quickly go there. There's something that is not reflected here.
So Ray, this should be your last quick stab because we need to start wrapping and we have one or two questions.
Sure, okay, I'm coming to it now. Yeah, so one of the things in municipal money that is very, very, very important is on capital expenditure projects. And when you go to a particular project, so this is a water, this is supplying water. It's showing you what it's about, where it's located, which ward it is in, and the years that it's allocated. This is really important that you go there and you put eyes on. A colleague of mine using this has just come back from a small town where they'd spent tens of millions on a new sewage plant, and he went there and there was nothing there. It was just a broken old plant. I just want to do this very last one, if you don't mind. So sorry, the Senate election dashboard by tomorrow, as I said, is going to have all the parties and who is standing. So, pocket reporter, it's Mobi friendly. So we're going to put out a list of resources with the URLs with Pocket Reporter. With Pocket Reporter, we're looking here at elections 2021 resources. They're the contesting parties, the lists of candidates, election manifestos, the South African Press Code, election reporting handbook. And then with elections, these ones are on election day. If you give your story a name, it gives you a template to fill out with questions to ask, so that when you are out reporting, you don't forget to ask questions. You don't sign up for this. There is no record kept of. We have no idea who you are. When you're finished filling in the templates, you can then send the story via email or via WhatsApp. Send it to yourself. Because if it gets lost, it's lost. It's built with security in mind, that if someone comes and says to us, who is this person? We don't have a clue. And then the last thing I would say is it's not only election. There's hard news templates when you're reporting on a fire. So this is not local government, but it's just giving you a checklist. It is designed particularly with younger reporters, less experienced reporters in mind, that you don't go out on a story and come back and discover that you haven't asked questions. And then finally is WasiMap, which is very similar, which gives you the demographics at ward level using your current location, or you can search in South Africa. And as you go through, you will actually get an insight into who that community is, how they live, what they earn, what services they have, what their education is. And this is really important for local government reporting. Sorry, I think I can wrap.
We need to stop there. Thank you very much. Just a quick response to one of the questions from Justina, who's asking, do these tools only work in South Africa or can it be used in any part of Africa? I think actually Raymond already answered that. WASI-map, which is a basis for many of these tools, is an open source document. An open source tool. You can go to openup.org.za if you want to know more about it, if you get in contact and get to their GitHub. Faith, I assume that...
Sorry, just add something quickly, Izak. There is a tool built by Code for Africa, which is built on the same backbone called HuruMap, which gives you insight into half a dozen African countries. The tool is only as good as the data that's in it.
Yeah.
I need to say that. But HuruMap is 6 different African countries.
So Faith, and I just want to give you the last word to say to what extent would Code for Africa assist other countries and journalists in other countries to get their country data sets uploaded in similar formats like WASI-map instances or any others?
Okay, I think our Code for Africa is open to partnering or just helping any newsrooms in Africa that need any help with that. So yeah, we don't have any limits as to which journalists from which country we are helping with that.
Okay, thank you. That was real Adidas in the background, by the way, guys. Thank you for a really rich session, lots of information for journalists to use. I mean, just think about 10, 20 years ago, this kind of information was not available like this. Now the challenge is for journalists of Africa, start using it, do better stories. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.